Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and in this video I want to share with you my favorite reads of 2021. I went and looked and I discovered that I had 22 5-star books in 2021, and I thought, well, those are obviously my favorites, and so that's the list that I'm going with. So these were all 5-star reads. Some of them were rereads, and I've split them up by category for you. So let's start with the classics that I read that were my favorites. The Beetle by Richard Marsh. I read this for Victober and loved it. It was so entertaining. It's a story written in the Victorian time period, and it was just, yeah, I loved it. I loved the writing style. I loved the story. Yeah. And then I read Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is a big book, but I loved it. I loved the characters. I loved Molly Gibson. But yeah, all the characters I really did enjoy, and I loved the story, how she told it, and it's so unfortunate that it was unfinished. And then 3 rereads, and they're all by Jane Austen: Persuasion, Mansfield Park, and Northanger Abbey. I read all of those for Jane Austen July, and I just, yeah, I love all 3 of them. Although I would have to say, of those 3, Persuasion is my favorite. I adore Persuasion. But yeah, Mansfield Park eked up a little higher on my rankings list for Jane Austen than where I had it from my previous reading. And I just love Northanger Abbey. I just think that it is so funny. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so those were my favorite classics that I read this year. The favorite mysteries that I read this year: Full Dark House by Christopher Fowler. This is the first in his Peculiar Crimes Unit series, so this is set in London, in England. I read The Perplexing Theft of the Jewel in the Crown by Vaseem. I believe this is the second one in his Baby Ganesh Investigations series, set in Mumbai. And then the third in that series is on this list too: The Strange Disappearance of a Bollywood Star. And then 2 from the Eddie Flynn series: The Defense is the first one, and The Plea, I believe, is the second one. Yeah, I just love the Eddie Flynn series. I love Steve Cavanagh's writing. It's the stories are action-packed and fast-paced with really good characters, and they always go in a surprising direction. And then last but not least, All the Devils Are Here by Louise Penny. This is the Inspector Gamache mystery that is set in Paris. I loved how much this mystery was about his family. The person who dies is his godfather, and so yeah, there's a lot about his family and his past. I adore that series. I adore the character of Armand Gamache, and I loved All the Devils Are Here. And then my favorite historical mysteries of the year. The first 2 I'm going to tell you about are rereads. A Test of Wills by Charles Todd is the first in the Ian Rutledge series, set just after World War I in England. Ian Rutledge is such a fascinating character. I love that series a lot, and A Test of Wills is such a great first book in the series. And then my other reread is Dissolution by C.J. Sansom. That's her, that's the Matthew Shardlake series, set in England during the reign of Henry VIII, during Tudor times. Again, those ones are so well written and really interesting. The Man That Got Away by Lynne Truss is the second in her Constable Twitton series, set in Brighton in the 50s. What the Devil Knows by C.J. Harris is from the Sebastian St. Cyr series, which is written in Regency era England. And then Murder at Mansfield Park by Lynn Shepherd. And I love that the author took this story that she knew really well and changed it and made a mystery about it, about those characters. I just really loved it. I really loved what she did with it. And then my favorite vintage mysteries of the year, Evil Under the Sun by Agatha Christie. That was a reread. Hercule Poirot on holiday in Devon or Cornwall. And then There Were None by Agatha Christie is another reread. 10 strangers get invited to an island and they all start dying. Classic. So, so good. And then The Body in the Library is another Agatha Christie. This one is a Miss Marple. Classic, classic Miss Marple. It's so good. And then here's a vintage that's not Agatha Christie. The Great Mistake by Mary Roberts Rinehart. This was written in the early 1900s and it's set in the United States, and I really enjoyed that one as well. And then two by Susanna Kearsley. She gets her own category. I read The Rose Garden and The Firebird, and I love Susanna Kearsley. I love her writing style. Her stories are always so interesting. And I love how she writes time travel, time slip, dual timelines, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, I'm just a massive Susanna Kearsley fan. So there you have it. Those were my favorite reads of 2021. Have you read any of the books on that list? Are any of those your favorite books? Let me know also in the comment section down below, what was one of your favorite reads from 2021? I would love to know. And I will see you for another video soon. Bye.